All right, so here we want to solve the equation x to the n equals k. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the nth root of each side because we want to get rid of this n. So we're going to take the nth root of each side to obtain what x is equal to. So we're doing that. So if n is odd, then the nth root of x to the n equals x, and the equation becomes basically x equals nth root of k. Now, if n is even, we have some options. And here, if k is greater than 0, then the nth root of x to the n is equal to the absolute value of x. And basically, we just get absolute value of x is equal to the nth root of k. Okay, so that's going to be what our answer is. But if k is less than 0, guess what? We can't take that. There's going to be an imaginary number, so there's no real solutions. And so we're done. So we don't have to worry about anything. And so this is kind of something, again, you have to think about as you're doing some of the problems. So let's do a few and we'll see how it works. So here we have odd, here we have an even, and here we have an even. Okay, so now we're going to solve each equation. So we're going to have to take the cubed root of that and the cubed root of that. All right, so when you take the cube root of that, what's this going to be? Well, that's going to be 6 times 6 times 6, but it's also going to be a negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6 because we have a negative there. And so the cube root of that gives us x is equal to 6. Now this one, we're just going to take the square root of both sides. So x is equal basically to square root of 17. Okay? And we really are, or we forgot the key piece here, absolute value. So its absolute value of x is equal to the square root of 17. So because of that, it's either going to be plus or minus 17. So most of the time what I do is when I say take this, I just add, go back. I just say, okay, well that's going to be plus or minus that. And then I don't have to worry about the absolute value because I know we're going to have that plus or minus here. And they always like to put the absolute value of x is equal to that. And so x is either equal to the plus or minus the square root of 17. Now this one, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to solve for the left side first with just the fourth root. So we're going to divide everything by 3. Now we're going to take the fourth root of both sides. And so now we have to remember, since this is an even, we have to take the absolute value of it. And then because of that, it's going to be either equal to minus 2 or a plus 2. So at this point, we could have said, well, it's going to be equal to plus or minus the fourth root of 16. And so then as x equals a negative 6 or x equals a negative 2. Okay. And again, it's probably best to check to make sure both of them work. So if we plug in negative 6 in there, that's going to give us a negative 2, and then 2 to the fourth times 3, that will give us 48, yes. And here that's going to be positive 2 to the fourth times, yep, so that should work. So they both work in this case. All right, so this one it says the formula for the volume V of a sphere with a radius r is given by V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Now we want to solve for r. So we're just solving for a variable, okay? So what we have to do is we have to isolate the variable. So we have to get rid of the 4/3 pi first. So what we're going to multiply is going to multiply by 4/3. And over here, to get rid of that, we have to multiply basically by 4 over 3. Not 4 over 3, 3 over 4. I keep saying the wrong thing. We multiply by the reciprocal, which is 3 over 4. And so that's why 3 over 4 here, because you have to multiply both sides by the same thing. Here, to get rid of pi, we have to multiply by 1 over pi. So we have to multiply that by 1 over pi. And so basically, we've multiplied by 3 over pi over 4. So 3 over pi 4. Okay. And then we still have our v. Now we need to solve for r. So now we have to take the cubed root. So we have a cubed root of 3v over 4 pi is equal to r, and we have now solved for r. Okay, so there's a lot of equations in math and science, and they could tell you to solve for any variable, and that's what you have to do. Basically, isolate whatever variable it is on this side, and then if you have to take cubed root, square root, fourth root, whatever you do that, and then you get your final answer. All right, hopefully that'll help you get started on this section.